Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Binary Adventure. And in this episode, I'm going to piggyback on the OA Labs guys, one of their videos, and I'm going to link it in the description. But basically, Sergey from OA Labs describes in a very, very good detail, in a very good video, about 45 minutes long, I think, on how to step by step basically defeat anti analysis techniques and anti-virtual machine techniques that malware uses. And one of the ways that he suggests doing this, and the way that they sort of cover in the video, is by opening up one of a couple of these documents, like this one called the Ultimate Anti-Reversing Reference by Peter Ferry, and going basically down these list of APIs that the malware can use to try to defeat a debugger or a virtual machine, and placing breakpoints on all of them, and then sort of running it and either modifying the state of the register or the zero flag or something like that in order to bypass it, or changing the state of the system or something in order to bypass it. There's sort of several different ways to do that, right? Or you could just jump over it. You can knock it out, all that kind of stuff. So um, so his video covers that, and the whole point of the video is to do it manually. And there are definitely tools out there to do it automatically as well. There's a lot of plugins for Debug and things like that. But I just wanted to use this as an exercise for myself to write a little script to do some of this automatically. So the goal here was to um, locate the memory address of the first four functions, which he covers in the video, which I believe are check remote debugger present, create tool help 32 snapshot, is debugger present, and NT query information process. So what I wanted to do was write a script in the debugger which first goes and looks for that information to see if those APIs and the modules are loaded, and then locates the memory address at which they're loaded, and then places breakpoints on those memory addresses, and then runs the file so that you get automatically basically placed at the first instance of one of these anti-debug tricks. And so I set out to do this in IDA Pro, but I had a lot of issues because I was having a very hard time getting the IDA Python API working with the IDA debugger API. And for example, I was able to get the debugger started, but I was not able to get it to properly progress through the file and break on these APIs for whatever reason. I can't remember the reason. It's been about a month since I tried, but I just know that I ran into a huge wall right there, and the IDA Python book doesn't explain it. And I looked all over the internet, and the only thing I could find was this article on Palo Alto Network's website, which I'll put in the description, which has some information about using the IDA Python debugging API, but it's just very obscure and difficult. So, that being said, Sergey, Sean, if you guys, because I know you guys are like super into IDA Pro, and I like IDA Pro too, but I just hit a wall of knowledge here and I couldn't figure this one out. So, if you guys know how to do this and wouldn't mind making a video on it, that would be super awesome, because I know I definitely wouldn't be the only one interested, and I don't think it's really anywhere else on the internet at this point. Because I mean, even Chris Eagle's book doesn't really show how to do that. So that said, I went ahead and decided to use OdbgDebug because I had known this thing called OliScript or OdbgScript for a while, and it's a lot more straightforward than IDA is. And I mean, it can be kind of archaic because it's like literally writing assembly, but it's like weird assembly. It's not actual assembly. It's like some strange modified scripting assembly, which is just kind of a funny thought because like you're using bar, so it's almost like JavaScript where it's not typed or something, but it's actually assembly language. So, anyways, so this code's definitely going to be ugly, but it does get the job done. And I just wanted to demo how you could do this in a very simple fashion. And instead of going through that entire list of APIs, we're just going to cover the first four, as I said before. So this is the script. What we did here is we created four variables, and each one is going to store the result of GPA. So GPA stands for get proc address. So in OliScript, um, if you write GPA, that means the API get proc address is going to be run, and it's going to look for the address of whatever you specify here. So in this case, it's check remote debugger present from kernel 32. And then we have is debugger present from kernel 32, create tool help 32 snapshot, kernel 32. So you can kind of see what we're doing here. And then what we're doing is every single time you run a function in OdbgScript, then the return of that function gets placed into this temporary variable called $result. And sometimes you'll even have stuff like this, like if there's several returns, it might be like $result1, $result2, and stuff like that. Now that's not always the case, but you'll know because when you click on each one of these different operations or functions, you actually get a nice little description down here in this box. And I forgot to actually cover this. So this editor is an awesome text editor for writing Anti-Debug scripts, and you could probably write x64 debug scripts with it too, would be my guess, because it looked to me like Mr. Exodia pretty much copied the syntax of OdbgScript, which, don't take my word for gospel on that, but it just looked pretty similar. So this thing is called OdbgSubscript by Sub-Zero. It's my favorite of these editors because it has this type of highlighting, and because of this right here, it has a little dictionary and it explains to you every single command and exactly how it works with examples. So very, very useful here. And you can see here how they pretty much explain exactly what I'm saying, how result1 gives you the lib, result2 gives you the proc, etc. for GPA, right? So if you wanted that information, you could get it. Now, so the key thing here is you're going to see, when you look at OdbgScript, you see a whole bunch of this result over and over. And so you basically have to take the result every single time and then store it in a temporary variable, or do something with it immediately before you overwrite this result with the next function return, right? So what we're doing here is we're trying to take each memory address and move it into all these different variables. If it's 0, that means that it wasn't found. So then the next step, obviously, if you've done any programming, is to check to see, were these all found or not. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm comparing each one with 0. If it wasn't found, we're going to jump JE, so it's just like regular assembly. Jump to API not found. And then if it was found, we're going to place a breakpoint on it. So remember, remote debugger in this case, if it's found, is just holding the address. So we can directly breakpoint remote debugger, which is the address of that API call in memory. And then we place a comment on that line to identify it, because I was finding that in Anti-Debug, it wasn't identifying. It would put all the breakpoints down, but it wasn't actually. There was no place where it said this is check remote debugger, or this is debugger present, and it was kind of annoying. So I decided to go ahead and use this comment function, which just takes a memory address that you want to place the comment on, and then it takes the actual string comment. And that's it. So then we have a message after all that gets completed saying that all of them have been located and broken on. And now, if something doesn't work, we're going to jump to API not found, and it's not really going to continue the way I have it arranged here. However, we could fix that with some more programming, but I'm trying to keep this simple. I'm trying to actually keep these videos relatively short and sweet so you can get the main idea as well. So what are we going to do now? We're going to actually show it to you. So we're going to go down here. I already opened up Anti-Debug. I'm going to open up that exact file that Sergey was analyzing in his video, which I'll place a link for in the description. He has it in his description as well. So open it up, and then it looks like actually it saved what I did before, but I'll try to run the script again and see what happens. It looks like it actually remembered what I did last time. So what I did is I went to OdbgScript, so you have to make sure you have this. If you don't have it, Google it. I'll put the link in the description. You can get it from SourceForge. And then it's just a DLL file, and you place it in your Anti-Debug folder. By the way, this is a modified version of Anti-Debug called Phantom. It's all tricked out with a bunch of anti-analysis stuff, which you can find. So I'm going to go. So I called this file Anti-Analysis Hunter. So I'm going to open it up, and then boom, you see it says all APIs have been located and broken on. So it worked, as you saw before. And then it says the script's finished. So now if I hit Alt B to look at breakpoints, voila, check it out. We have is debugger present broken on, create tool help 32 snapshot broken on, check remote debugger present broken on, and NT query information process broken on. So now what we can do is we can go back to the regular view, and I'm going to hit F9 to run this thing. Actually, I'm going to restart it because it looks like I'm already running it. I'm not sure. There we go. So I hit F9, and here we are. We stopped right here at NT query information process right now. So you can see right here it says 774. So EIP is, so it did actually work. We broke there. I'm going to hit F9 again, see what happens. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to any of the other ones. Didn't look like it, but yeah, in fact, that's probably what's going on. It's detected us. But you can see here that that's very helpful, because now what we could do is we could go in here and we can look at the memory. We can analyze what's being passed in, like he demonstrates in the video, and we can modify it or do whatever we have to do to get past this particular roadblock before moving to the next one on the list, basically. And then what we could do in a perfect world, where we had a bunch of time and we wanted to actually do this for real, is we could just go down all of these and add them into that script, and it would just be a nice, easy way to breakpoint all of those. So, so that's all I wanted to show you in this video. Again, just want to say thanks to the OA Labs guys. They're really cool, very motivational, and it's awesome to be putting this kind of information out. And it's like I had the choice of trying to do something completely from scratch to demo this, but it's like, no, I actually would prefer to send you over to their channel, because they do a really good job of teaching, and I've learned a lot of stuff from them. And I think that we could take a community approach and just kind of piggyback off each other and really go in depth in a lot of this stuff to help everybody fight malware. So I hope everyone's having a good new year so far. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out malwareanalysisforums.com. I'll put the link in the description if you want to discuss any of this stuff. We're always open over there. And see you guys next time.